Hey, tortoise fans. So we have some, I suppose, slightly cartoonish looking tortoises. Tortoises look pretty funny as they are. But these are listed as Bowuzhi. I'll put in the title if you want to search them out. And today we're going to go over these two, Geochelone Gigantea and Elegans. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Let me get both of these out. These are very plain, very simple boxes and not very protective. You know, very thin cardboard. It's weird that there's actually no branding. It's not like you need licensing to make tortoises. You'd think they'd have their brand on the box. And so the box isn't very strong, but it's got a good amount of dense foam around it. So I don't think it's damaged. Yeah, it's made of hard resin, so if you drop it, it's going to break like a ceramic. So keep that in mind. I guess they chose that material because it's better detail. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't know why this comes in such a crazy big bag. Okay, so you can see in these images, this Gigantea is one of the largest tortoises out there. The average carapace length is 122 centimeters or 48 inches in length, and the males average around 250 kilos or 550 pounds. So they're pretty big tortoises, and they can live over 200 years. The problem with aging these things is they tend to outlive the human owners of these things or the zoos. So there was one that was I guess stolen from some island and given to some rich people, and then it was given to a zoo. Let me find out how old that thing was. Yeah, this thing was 255 years old. It was given to Robert Clive of the British East India Company. So we're talking the 1800s. Crazy. And then some other ones, you know, that we know of around their sources, they're around 200 years old. These things are native to the Seychelles, and in particular the Aldabra Islands, I guess. Okay, so you can see, well, let me look up a juvenile. This looks like a juvenile. Well, those are juvenile tortoises are very round and smooth looking, it seems. I know this because I used to have an Indian Star tortoise myself. Well, maybe not these particular ones. Yeah, there you go. See, the shell is kind of smooth. It's not as bumpy as the older tortoises. Okay, let me get that screen out. There's kind of distracting. Alright, so this thing is around 75 millimeters in length from tip to tip. It's a solid chunk of resin, or it feels like it's made out of like stone. It's very heavy. Okay, well, anyways, starting at the bottom here. So we have some molded details, of course, of all the plates, and then there's a brown paint wash in there to bring it out. It's very realistic looking, it seems, you know, because tortoises run around on the dirt. So you got these tiny stubby feet, kind of actually contracted inwards, it seems. Some minor scaling there. Much better on the front legs, though. The scaling here and the tiny little claws of his feet. I do feel like, is this one broken? No, it's not broken. It's just weirdly molded. Oh, okay. So it is normal. I thought it was broken. So they're not symmetric in their molding, like a real animal. It's got very glossy pitch black eyes. You can see the square reflection of the LED above. Some nostrils, no extra paint, makes sense. A little bit of the brown is help bringing out the mouth. And then the head is contracted quite a bit, and it's got a little different scaling above the eyes, these giant ones in the top of the head. And then up here we have, you know, I guess six-sided, squished hexagon kind of scales here, or are they scutes? I don't know what they're called. Sorry, I'm not an expert on animals. I just like cute looking things. Alright, well anyways, there's a lot of ridges in them, and then that brown and also like a gray paint. I guess there's a gray paint in between the big scales, and then there's a brown paint wash maybe over the whole thing. But yeah, they vary in size like a real tortoiseshell. It looks like a tortoise to me. It doesn't even look like a cartoon to me. Maybe a little. No, I don't know. I've never had a baby one of these, so I don't know. So that is the Aldabra giant tortoise. So it turns out that the elegans is the Indian Star tortoise. I just never knew its scientific name when I actually owned one. Here's some images now. And also, my tortoise never got to look like this. My tortoise was very similar to this. It just had a rounded domed shell with a cool pattern on it. But it seems like a lot of these will get these crazy pyramid-like gross. But not all of them. I mean, that looks pretty big and it's still kind of smooth. But this one is just insane. Okay. It looks like it's made out of like snow cones or something. So where the Aldabra is native to some islands in the Seychelles, the Indian Star is native to India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. So it might be called the Sri Lankan star tortoise as well. Those two countries, I guess, don't like each other so much. I don't know. Oh, no, that's India and Pakistan. My bad. Okay, so this is an endangered species. There's only approximately 10,000 out there in the wild, and mostly because I guess a lot are put into the pet trade. I hope mine wasn't illegally traded. It does say that a lot of them are bred in captivity, though, so hopefully mine was not an illegally stolen tortoise. Alright, like most tortoises, they're mostly herbivores, plant eaters, but they will occasionally eat meat, including that other tortoise, the first tortoise we went over. This disruptive pattern is supposed to be camouflaged amongst the vegetation, so I don't know, it looks pretty bright to me, but I guess in the wild it's effective. These don't grow too big, only around 32 centimeters, maybe 6 kilos, and the females are greater in size for this one, 50 centimeters. So the opposite of the Aldabra. The Aldabra, the males grow bigger. But these only live, I think, around 80 years according to an internet source. So not as long-lived as the Aldabra. Okay. So let me close this out. So I care to learn about there. Well, this is interesting. Some 6 brown spots on these scutes. I did look it up. They're scutes, segments of a shell, I guess. Yeah, fine ridging. And then they tampo printed this black, and it looks like the brown is airbrushed. Maybe they did that before the printing. And this one has far more visible detailing of all the scaling and the feet and the claws. Right, so I guess it's just because it's a lighter color. There's some black on each of these larger scales here. And then this paint wash here is very effective on all the scales here. It's getting into the nostrils. The eyes are not as glossy as the last one, and they're also not fully painted. There's like a gray and then a black pupil. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but sorry, spontaneous coughing. So the head is pushed in quite a bit. It looks like it might be starting to walk or something, but not much. And then the top here, yeah, it's very interesting. You know, these giant growths, how they become sort of triangulated in their height. Pyramidical, is that a word? I'm making it up if it is. So it's nicely done. We have like a lighter paint wash between the big parts, and then this fine ridging. You got this black tampo print. It's actually getting into the crevice very effectively. Maybe they're hand painted, I don't know. The black does look glossier than the tan. There's a certain sheen to the black where you don't see it so much here on the bottom as much. In fact, let's bring up that bat. The last one's totally matte, it seems. There's a square LED. You can barely tell it's a square, and this reflection here is when you get to the eye, you realize how glossy it is. This one, yeah, it seems like the black is a little shinier. And for some reason, this one feels a lot lighter, even though it doesn't seem that greatly different. It's driving me crazy. I need to know how heavy these are for some reason. So this one is 150 grams. And then this one is 92. So yeah, it's a third less. But it doesn't look a third smaller. Interesting. I wonder if they switched like resins later on. I only have one other tortoise. This is by Animal Heavenly Body, their third wave, and it's a sulcata tortoise. And this one has a funky open mouth. Yeah, I like that. The only issue is it's very glossy. It's very shiny, and I just don't associate a wet look to a tortoise. You know, a turtle, sure, that's one thing, but a dryland animal, generally doesn't look slick. But size-wise, they fit in with each other, the two brands. I think that they're perfectly fine. This one was a lot lighter, by the way. And they're both equally detailed, I think. The actual paint washes and the actual detail of all the scaling and stuff, I'd say they're on par. But the eyes of this one are very much better. There's like 3 different colors, I think, in that eye. So maybe these tortoises just have black eyes. Maybe. Possible. I don't know. They just seem less detailed. Alright, well anyways. So, yeah, if you like tortoises, I'll eventually get to the other ones as I track the things down. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next animal review. Not even really cartoon, is it? I guess it's just a miniature animal that you don't have to feed. Alright, take care.